All right, so quick update on the dishwasher. Finally got it installed, and the control panel pulled off the back of the dishwasher door, and it's obsolete. So that's great. So I'm trying to track one of those down. In the meantime, I've started to work on the starboard side of Hatterass. I've pulled out all the injectors. I've pulled out the oil cooler, transmission cooler, and intercooler for the turbo. I pulled out the fuel pump, which is right down there, and I'm probably gonna be pulling the head and the cooler next. So all because I think the mixing elbow was getting old and it was leaking. So water comes in there. That's your dry exhaust right there coming off of the turbo. And this is also a wet turbo too. So you got antifreeze rolling through there to cool the turbo. And that's your dump coming off of here, down, up, and in. That's the mixing elbow. And then you just go down to rubber pipe right there. So the mixing elbow mixes the gas, the hot gases, with the cooler water, so you can marry it up to a rubber hose. Otherwise it would just melt. So that's called a wet exhaust. So theoretically these last quite a long time. They're stainless steel, but they do go, and I think that's what was happening, is that this was leaking on the inside here. You've got the on the inside you've got the exhaust, and then the outer side you've got the wet side. So that was mixing and then coming back through into the turbo, into the exhaust manifold, and so I think that was the problem. So it runs great still, but something that we just need to check out, and I'm going to pull the head just to check it, and I got one already redone. So we're just going to swap out heads and redo everything, and redo the timing and the valve clearances and stuff like that, and we'll see where we get with it. So that's the update on the dishwasher. I've started an engine project. All right, follow up from the other video. I've got some parts on order. Talked to the fuel shop. The injectors aren't too bad. They've popped off nice, but they're going to put some new seals on and stuff like that and get them back. The bigger issue was the injector pump, which goes right down in there. There was a bunch of stuff that was busted up on that. So getting parts from a new shaft and stuff like that coming over from England. So we're going to get the whole thing rebuilt, which will help. Surprisingly enough, I took the valve cover off here, and everything inside here looks really good. There's no rust, there's no water, there's no particulates and stuff like that. So really happy to see that, based upon what I was kind of seeing when I was pulling out the injectors. That being said, I have a brand new head that's sitting at the machine shop that I have for another engine that I just got remachined. So while I'm here, I might as well finish pulling off the whole fuel system. I might as well take off the exhaust manifold here, which is also called the multi-cooler, because it also goes through here, and it's the exhaust and cooler. It does like 5 different things. It's a ridiculously expensive part. We'll rip all this down and check the inside of this. Just pulled out the antifreeze so we can start pulling this off. The antifreeze look great. So happy to see that as well. But we'll disconnect all these, get all new hoses here. There's a hose here and a hose underneath here that marry up to this when you put this back on. So the only time that you can actually do this is if you pull this off. So for $3, I'll go ahead and put all new hoses on as well. So I got to pull off the turbo and the new mixing elbow that we got a few weeks ago. I'll check the turbo. I have the turbo gaskets in stock, but we'll check everything over on here once we get all that stuff out. I'll remove the exhaust manifold and then finish up removing the fuel system, and then take out all 37 of these bolts here, and then we'll be ready to yank the head and check the cylinders. Once we do that, we'll turn it over by hand, check the linings, make sure that there's no major scoring. You can see all of the hash marks still, and then if everything looks good there, we'll put it all back together again, and hopefully the only thing we'll be dragging on is the fuel pump, but we'll be ready to go. So that's it for that. I'll do a quick video once we've got all this other stuff ripped down. You guys can see it a little bit better, even though I've got one completely ripped apart at the shop. So anyway, more progress on this one, and the dishwasher I still can't find the part for, just in case you're wondering about that. So I'll probably have to buy a new dishwasher. So that's it for now, and we'll continue on. All right, day 2 maybe of our project. I got pretty much all the stuff off. We're down to the rocker assembly here, and then just the head underneath it. So we've got to take off all of these right here, this one and that one, and then the ones down in there, and that's all of the bolts for the head, and then I'll be able to take it off. Brought down a big piece of lumber that I'm spanning across here, except for I forgot that my window's open from the back and from the front, so I'm gonna have to create another piece across here and come down here so I can lift this straight up and then get it out of the back of the boat. The new head from the other engine that I pulled is done, ready to go. It's really kind of not nice out for the next couple of days, so I didn't want it sitting in the back of my truck. I just want to be able to drop it straight in, so I'll wait to pick it up tomorrow. The other parts I've got sent out for ultrasonic cleaning, the multi-cooler and everything, all these coolers here I have sent out for testing. I did do a pressure test on this, held 12 pounds for a really long time. In fact, when I took it apart this morning, there was still at least 8 pounds, 10 pounds of pressure in it when I released it. So all that seems to be good, so I'm not gonna screw too much with that, I don't think. I redid it about 2 years ago, so it should be still pretty good. All the gaskets and stuff like that, but the multi-cooler I did rip apart and take that out, and took the tube bundle out and everything. So we are gonna hopefully get this out of the boat today and get this off to the machine shop to start working on this one, and we'll throw the other one in, and I'll show you the other parts, I think, because I just already sent them off, but we'll see. So we're gonna get working on this and a few other things, and we'll see what goes on for today.
Just wear a GoPro, Dave.
Wear a GoPro?
Yeah.
All right, we're back on the boat. Head's off, the old head is off, and that's the block. So we fashioned, my dad decided to come, that's Tom. That's
cheap labor.
That's my dad. And so we fashioned this redneck style. It worked well, and my chain fall right here, and pulled the head off. I got the other one up in the truck, and so now we just cleaned it up. We're gonna verify all the cylinders look good and everything, and then probably put a new head gasket back on, and the fresh head that's up in the truck, which we're gonna be bringing down in a minute. So that's that, and all the other parts are neatly lined up right here. My dad thinks we should reuse the old head gasket.
No, I didn't say
I think
that.
that's probably a pretty good idea. It will save us $100 and something, and then a complete rebuild afterwards. So it looks pretty clean. There's a lot of carbon buildup in this one and in that one, and I got to check the cylinders to check the bore on them and make sure that all of the striations are still there and stuff like that, and then it's still good. But yeah, it's coming along. So we're gonna haul this one out and put the new one in. Okay, good morning. It's video time again. My parents have left. Actually, I got my younger brother coming in right now as we speak, and I'm on the boat. It's pouring rain out, so it's a great day to do some engine work. I have the new head here in the bag. We did the valves and valve guides and new springs, and got cleaned in the tank, and everything's ready to go. And I've cleaned off the mating surface on the actual block itself. Polished all this up and cleaned this up. I used 20 grit sandpaper. I'm just kidding. Please don't leave a comment saying you shouldn't do that. I didn't. But clean up all the carbon deposits and stuff like that. So also check the cylinder walls. They're okay. Now remember, this engine is probably at least 30 years old. I've owned the boat for God knows 20 years, and it probably hadn't been touched since 10 years before that. So let's just say it's 30 years it hasn't been touched. And there's still some, I want to see some cross hatching in all these cylinders here, which I still see. If you zoom in, you can still see. It's tough to see some of them. Let me see if you can see in there. I don't know if you can or not, but Anyway, it's still there, but what you're really looking for is up and down vertical striations, which means that the cylinder's probably no good at this time. And again, for what we're doing, this seems to be, in my estimation, perfectly fine. So I've got another one at home that we're rebuilding anyway, which was supposed to be jumped over to here. But again, remember, since I had the fuel system out, which I think was the cause for most of this, and while I did this and I had to do that, might as well do this and that, and well, now here we are with the entire head taken off. We're just going to throw the new head on and do the all new gaskets and stuff like that, as well as the fuel system, and then that should take care of the problem for at least another few years anyway. So that's what we're hoping for. So it's pouring rain out. I'm just about done cleaning out all of the cylinders and head and pistons and everything else, and we'll get Matt over here and have him help me drop this on, and we'll get everything else cleaned up. All the studs and everything I've cleaned up as well, and then I'm going to go through and then just hog out all of the holes in the head, just make sure that all those are clear, so when I torque the bolts down, I'm not torquing down on, or I'm bottoming out on junk and stuff like that. So I've actually vacuumed them out, but we're actually going to just go through with a bolt and just make sure that they're all clean and ready to go and ready to get torqued down properly and correctly. So we'll take care of that, and then we've still got to wait for the parts to come in from England on that CAV injector pump, and then we'll put the rest of this stuff back on, and we'll do the valve clearances, and then fire it up and, well, prime the system. I'll show you how to do that, and then fire it up and see what we got. So that's our Monday morning, so we'll keep going on this. Okay, Matt's here. Hi, Matt. It's pouring rain out, and I had all of the studs cleaned up and everything, and Matt and I got the head on in about 2 minutes. So we're just cleaning up the rest of the parts right now, and we're going to go through and preload all of the bolts, and then we're going to start going through the book and the manual and start torquing them down in the proper torque setting, and get the head torqued down. And then we've got to put all of the exhaust manifold studs back on, which are here and here. I put 2 on just so we could grab it, something to grab onto and set it down nice and easy, and the thing's set right down in there, which was great. So that's on. This will be the next thing that we got to do, but right now we got to clean up all the bolts and hardware, and then we'll torque the head down.